I have not exclusively at any point discussed the long-term plan of Lad Society. And for those who have already heard me discuss in detail what we're doing with the project, this will be a rehash for you. But for everyone else, I'd like you to know that Lad Society is merely a placeholder. It's an organization that will last for another 2 to 5 years roughly. And the point of starting this up is to create a network of young men where we can sit down and organize the building of a physical community group, a group that advocates for the interests of the Anglo-European Australians, or the Aussies, right? Or if you want to be technical, the Aussies and Wogs, right? Now, how we're going to do this is it's only been 1 year since the first physical meetup of Lads. Now, there's been many groups in the past, and there's been many pros and cons of the groups of the past. It's only been 1 year, and we've already created such a strong physical network that we've got 2 clubhouses already in the works. And in time, we're going to have 1 in every capital city. And from there, we can work out, as a national movement of young men, a national organization, we can work out the left and right of arc of what community group we're going to set up, and the outward optics of this group, because it's very important that we're all on the same page. It's very important that we all agree to how far down the line do we want to show our cards, so to speak, because I think there's been many movements in the past, and I think they have not done the job that they've sought out to achieve. What we would be achieving with an Anglo-European community, and the organization would be called, I think colloquially, something similar to the Anglo-European Community of Australia. And the point of it would be to have an organization that outwardly states that it is looking after the interests of the Anglo-European Australians, to say that every community in this country has the right to look after its interests, its health, maintain its culture, and its identity. And this is the official organized network or community. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of flack for this, but it would be very simple to deal with. And from here, from that network in the future that we will create, that will spawn out of Lads, there will still be the boys club. There will still be the back room where the boys can talk politics. But what we'll be building is a physical community center that offers services to our, not just people that are red-pilled, but anyone that's within our community. So we will have not a Lad Society clubhouse, but an Anglo-European community center, which will have a gym, which will have a library, which will have a cafe, which will have a bar, which will have a meeting room, which will have a kindergarten, for example. We'll have a daycare. And from there, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is very similar to what the Muslims are doing. They'll do all these things, they'll provide all these services, and eventually they've got a school, and eventually they've got a legal service, and eventually they've got this and this and this and this and this and this, and they just keep providing more services to their people, and their people flock to the centralized authority of their people, which is not any politician. It's greater than party politics. It's meta-politic. It's the politic of the whole body of people, and they flock to them. And they keep their flock in tight because they've created this physical network that provides services, and it's beneficial for them. Now, it's not going to be completely secret society like you know, a lot of the cliques like the Freemasons and stuff. I'm not personally a Freemason, and I don't actually know anyone that's a Freemason. But what I do know about Freemasonry is that it's similar to what we're doing, in a sense that it's providing opportunity and networking for people. And networking is very important, not just at a nationalist level, but at an economic level for us. And to my understanding, the way that Freemasonry works is, if you're just a run-of-the-mill Joe, you can join up. They say, here's your membership cost. It's not much. You get to meet people, and, you know, let's say you're a mechanic, and there's no mechanics at that clubhouse, at that Freemason lodge. And they say, oh, well, you know, we'll help you out. We'll all go to your mechanic place. And because you're now a brother, you're now one of us, you're a Freemason. So everyone goes to that mechanic, and now all of a sudden he's making bank. He's making way more than he was before he joined Freemasonry. So Freemasonry to him it has given him wealth. But the other side of the coin is the Freemason leadership say, well, we've given you opportunity, now you need to pay back. So now you've provided an asset to the community, but now you have to give back to the community. So you have a higher membership fee, and you know you're in a new rank now. You've gone up a degree or however it works. Now imagine this process, but we're not talking about a mechanic. We're talking about a lawyer now. So now this lawyer is providing, you know, service. If anyone needs a lawyer, this is the lawyer we're going to. He's at the lodge. He's one of the boys, right? It's a little boys club, and everyone networks. And you know, if you're out of work, you might start down the bottom, but you meet a few people at the club. Someone's looking for a laborer, or someone's similar to lads looking for someone to help out. You do that for them, and one hand washes the other, so to speak. Now imagine it at a political and banking level. You've got politicians that are, you know, they're not level 1 or level 2 or level 3. They're all the way up the top, and they're rubbing hands with bankers and big business and all this sort of stuff. And if you don't believe me, I mean, I think it's the Queen of England's brother is the Grand Master of Freemasonry. So that's where it gets to. And if you think that Bill Gates or any of these billionaires or you know, George Soros, if you think these people are powerful and wealthy, they're nothing compared to the royal families of the world. I mean, you'll never read the Forbes top 100 and see, oh, you know, the king of the Netherlands is in the top 100, or the Queen of England's in the top 100. You'll never see that, because they're beyond. They're worth trillions of dollars. They're worth more than any of these lowly billionaires that are far lower level in the ranking of this sort of deep state, you know, Freemasonry, whatever you want to call it, the people that are behind the scenes that are running the show. And there's no reason why we can't, you know, use what is successful from that model, not necessarily being completely, you know, objective when ranking people up in terms of their leadership. It'll be more to do with what they can do for the cause, because there's a nationalist element to it. Just as the Freemasonry are internationalists, and I'm sure that your ranking in the Freemasonry could be perhaps a lot to do with your ability to influence that process of internationalism. But it would be a goyish fallacy to believe that the Freemasons are the only secret network of people, you know, trying to change the world for the negative in our eyes. There's layers upon layers upon layers of organizations fighting for control, whether it be the military-industrial complex or the banking complex, or whatever big group of people that have money and power and influence. They're all fighting for control. And we're kind of hiding amongst it. No one's being dragged to their home and shot at any point. And what we can do is provide services to people in the future that we regard as being in our community, and giving them a reason, giving normies a reason to be involved in our project, because we provide schooling or kindergarten or daycare, or, you know, we just got a cafe, or you know, a gym facility. We've got a network, and we have public forums, perhaps public forums in the future, of how do we improve the interests of the Anglo-European community in Australia, whether that be the safety, you know, and we can touch on things like, you know, the Sudanese gang problem and all this sort of stuff, and drive normies into our organization to become members, because we say, hey, look, you know, as an organization, we're going to have a community solution to the African crime problem, or just the crime problem, whatever you want to put it as. We're going to give people a reason to become part of us. And lad society will exist only in spirit in the future. It will exist in the backroom dealings and talkings of the inner circle of these organizations, of the people who are, you know, of the stock that we want, the people that are engaged in these endeavors early on. And we'll have these people join the boys club, you know, that join our community perhaps as normies and become further down the line later on. So there will always be the boys club, but the goal of lads is merely to transition into a greater organization. So I hope that answers sort of queries and doubtful points.